everyone. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Cloud. I have a very special guest for the show today. Can you go ahead and announce to the world who you are and where you're calling from?
Hi, everyone. My name is Jenny Ferguson, and I am in California, Central Valley, California.
Wow, I know it's beautiful out there. I wanted to talk though about something serious. Tell me about your past leading up into your present. I really want to know everything.
Okay, so I come from, a mom and dad who was married and happily married, wonderful parents. I was a figure skater, professional figure skater on tour. When I stopped touring, I was coaching and got my real estate license. So for a couple decades, I was a realtor, a coach, and a mom, and that is what I knew. And seemingly very happy. My mom passed away when I, at a fairly young age, suddenly have a heart attack. So then it was me and my dad, and he was my person. And everything kind of changed for me about 7 years ago now, when his health started declining, and really trying to navigate through that system. If anybody has an elderly loved one, I think we all know people over 65, and that's unfortunately where this all heads. But unlike my mom, who died a little bit young suddenly from a heart attack, my dad's health declined. And so very different thing to go through with him. And, as his only child, navigating this system by myself, and, with zero background of medical, anything that had to do with anything medical. So it was very overwhelming. You feel there's so many emotions that go with it, guilt at the top of the list. Like, you feel guilty having to make decisions that aren't necessarily what your loved one would want, but it's the right thing for their health and their safety. And so I always tell people, so my trajectory went from there to my dad's health declining, navigating through this system, and then starting my own assisted living home. I went to school in LA and got my license. Thank you. I got my childhood home, the home I grew up in, licensed by the state, and to turn that into a state license assisted living for the elderly. It was 6 beds, so I had 6 residents, and that came to be, it wasn't, my first intention was not for me to change my life and do this. I put my dad into an assisted living home, and he needed 24-hour care, and it was more than I could provide. I went and looked at a few places, and I thought I picked the right one. And 2 weeks later, I realized it wasn't the right place for him. And I knew, even though he was so gracious and loving and wonderful, and to me, okay, he would call his siblings and say, like, you got to get me out of here. I don't want to be here, but don't tell Jenny I called. But they would call me and tell me, and I knew, of course, I visited him every day. So I knew it just wasn't probably the right place for him. And I came up with this idea of, having somebody that knew what they were doing rent his house and turn it into an assisted living, and he could go home. Private pay, 24-hour private pay, at least, and here in California, probably everywhere, is about $15,000 a month.
Wow.
Right? Couldn't afford that. So the only way to get him home with 24-hour care is to share that expense. So, you divide that expense by 5 other people, or 4 other people, then it's doable. So that was my plan.
Why is it so much? Why is it 15, or that's just standard? It could be more than that in more like higher up places. So tell me, why so much?
So what trying to get him home with 24-hour care, that means you have to hire a company to come into, his house, and it's, private pay, and they're charging about $45 an hour. They're paying their staff, $25 an hour, and then that's the company money. So it's just extremely expensive. It's not quite that much to go to the assisted living. We were paying for the assisted living, like, I think $5,200 a month. So, between the 15,000 and the 5,200, that's, that was a lot more doable. But when you want somebody to be home, you're looking at 24-hour private care, and that's the 15,000. So I knew somebody that did run these homes, and I asked her if she wanted to rent his house and do this in his home, and she said absolutely. So I told my dad the plan, and he was originally, like, right when I first said it, he's so cute. He said, "Oh, I don't want people living in my house, Jen." And I said, "Okay, so you'd rather stay here?" And he was like, "Oh no, yeah, good point. Let's do it." So um, I just said, I have some things to do. I know I had some things to do. Bars at the toilets and the showers, and just to make it suitable for elder care. And unfortunately, he ended up passing away like 30 days later. So even though he was super excited about the progress and it was something we talked about every day, he didn't get to see it come to fruition. And his passing really, I don't know if it was a way for me to help with my grieving, but it just sparked a fire in me that made me want to do it even more. And I wanted to provide a place that I would have wanted him, like a place for your loved one, your elderly loved one, to be able to go, that just got like really great attention and love and care. But it's so much more about just the healthcare. It's about treating them, like truly treating them with dignity and respect, and matching their personality, understanding, does this person like to joke around? And if they do, you're going to joke around. And is this person a little more serious? Do I need to call this person, Mrs. Smith, or is this like Lynette? Like, it's just to have that individual interaction with each resident. In a bigger facility, that it's not as common. I have found now some, that are really wonderful. But as a person, when you're going through it with your loved one, and it's not your life, it's not what you're used to. Most of us are going through it for the first time, but I even have clients going through it for the third time that still need help. You don't know what you don't know. I didn't know where to start looking. I didn't know there was a difference between assisted living and memory care and skilled nursing and, 6-bed homes and big facility. Like, it's just all overwhelming. So I decided to, go to LA, get my license to be an administrator for an assisted living. And then I got the state license for the house. Thank you.
That's hard to do. Go ahead.
Oh, it was eye-opening. And it's like learning a whole foreign language, because I'd never heard of any of the terminology. And man, I wish, like when I was going through it, I wish I would have known then what I know now. But now that's why I help people. So I turned the home into an assisted living, and I hired a house manager. I was still doing real estate and coaching skating at the time. And I thought, I just want to oversee it, and I want it done my way. I'm a little bit of I like to be in control of things. So I thought, I'll just go every day and make sure everything's good. And that is, not what happened. I was there every day, but I loved it. I wanted to be there. And, the reality is, I hope this isn't TMI, but most of these seniors are in, I call them absorbent underwear, but adult diapers. And never in a million years did I ever think I would be changing an adult diaper or showering, somebody. And that's just never where I love my grandparents, to the moon and back, but the 65 and older population wasn't ever really on my radar. I just never really thought about it until I went through it. And so how unexpected it was to me to fall in love with being in the home. And I mean, I loved them so much. And so that really changed my life. And I stopped coaching and I stopped doing real estate to devote my life to this. I did end up a few years later selling the care home because I wanted to help more people on a broader scale. So I started a company. It's called California Senior Care Consulting. And I help families navigate whatever they're going through. A lot of it is a loved one, falling, being in the hospital, and then having to go to skilled nursing where they get rehab. But what next? Like, after rehab discharges them, and if they can't go home, if they can't take care of themselves, or let's say their spouse is also, very elderly and frail, they can't help them up and help them to the restroom. It's not feasible. It's not safe. And this is really where people get stuck, is what next? What do we do? Where do we look? And then also, how are we going to pay for it? And so there's a lot of little branches on my business tree of, reaching out to people before that happens and saying, here's how to be prepared. And then also in like crisis mode, I got you. This is what we should do. What do you think? Like, how about this? And I think from what I gather when I'm working with people, just having support and guidance, it takes that stress and pressure off, and the sound of relief in their voice is always really, really rewarding for me. And just so happy to be able to take my experience and then help others through it as well.
Well said, by the way, Jenny. I have two questions. One, do you do webinars, like get the elderly 65 and older people to come in online, or maybe they're not hip to equipment, so just do like something at a library or something where they come in and you tell them and show them how to look for these places early, so when they begin to decline, they will be able to find that place, the right Goldilocks effect.
Right. That's such a good point and a good question. And I did recently just kind of started reaching out, and like I've spoken at churches, I've spoken at Rotaries and Kiwanis, and but having it's funny, my other half, my I say boyfriend, but we've been married, just about married. We've been living together for so long. He started saying that too. He was, like, hey, you should just make flyers and pass them out and have people come into like a conference room or a library and help navigate this stuff, beforehand. I do have on my website, I always tell people this, it's called 5 Things to Do Now. And that is really helpful. And I've had groups, companies actually reach out and ask for, many copies of this, and they will hand it out to their staff, their employees. I know, gosh, like 75% of elder people are going to need long-term care. And so that's a lot in the US. That's a big population. And I think companies are realizing a lot of their employees are going through this at home as a caregiver to an elderly loved one, like a parent. And that is like really one of the number one reasons why an employee calls in sick, is to take a parent to the doctor or because they're caring for a parent. So it is such a big part of, even though we may not realize it, it's such a big part of the workplace and everywhere, that it impacts everybody. So more people are, really trying to help the people they know, their employees. It's really become, I know it's it's a hot topic right now. I got into it without ever thinking about it, but it is, the baby boomers. It really is just something that we are all going to be affected by.
Well said. Tell me about an example of how somebody that's 50 or 55 and their health is declining. How do you find the right geriatric or hospice care?
So, I always recommend trying to find a professional in your community that does this for a living. So that's me here. But there's multiple people. I have very good friends. I don't want to say competition. Like, we all are at the end, like really trying to just help the same group of people. But so I specialize in long-term care placement. So I'll work with families and take them, I will take them to multiple assisted living, memory care places, big and small, whatever, and teach them, okay, this is what this looks like. This is what this looks like. What do you think is going to be the best fit for your loved one? And then I can also guide them, because I know now, if they need max assist, right? They need help with everything in their daily life. They probably need to be in a much smaller facility, maybe like a 6-bed that I owned. the care is so hands-on. And then a larger community is like if they're still social and they can get around by themselves a little bit better and they don't need quite so much help, that's more fitting for a larger community. And of course, memory care, there's different types of places that do memory care, but true memory care has like an egress, like a lockdown door, because a lot of people with dementia or Alzheimer's, they're wanderers or they get sundowners and they want to go. I mean, I had that in my house and I had to tell the family, I love her so much, but this is not the right place for her. It's not the right fit. And I wish I could keep her because I love her, but she needs to be in a facility that is safer for her. And so they understood that. And I helped them, transition her into that type of facility. But so that is now like, if, wherever you are, New York, Florida, but you can Google it, you can look it up. You can probably ask if you called like a senior, everywhere has senior centers and they're like county or city programs for the seniors. And if you called any of those places and started asking questions, how would I find somebody to help us find placement for a loved one? They would probably refer you to somebody like me. And that person is worth their weight in gold. And it's a free, typically, well, in California, it's a free service to the family. And so how I get paid is when we find the right place and, mom or dad or grandma moves in, then that facility gives me a referral fee. So it's a free service to the family. And, what a wonderful benefit. And I feel like if you just have to know about it and utilize it, but it just is the most helpful thing. And I'm so grateful that I listened to that, that weird gut instinct that you get when you're like, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I really need to do this, because I am telling you, all my friends, family, they were like, what are you doing? Like, you can't open up an assisted living home. You don't know anything about that. I'm like, I know, but I'm going to learn and I'm going to do it. It's just something that felt really important to me. And it was like, stepping stones. I did work for a hospice company as well. After that, I the largest hospice company in town. And so I learned about end of life. Through there, I made a lot of connections with skilled nursing facilities. I learned about like that process. And so I have really kind of helped in a lot of avenues. Right now I'm contracted with just about all of the skilled nursing facilities around here to help them with their discharge planning and to talk to families and really just be there for support. I can't emphasize that one enough. Like, people need support during this time. It's really overwhelming. So that was my journey. And I feel like I'm just getting started. I feel like it's been like 6 or 7 years now. And I feel like I'm just at the starting line of, okay, everything I did this past, 6 or 7 years has got me to this point now where I am like so confident. And I do feel like people will say, they'll introduce me as a leader in the industry. And the first couple years, I certainly did not feel that way. And I was just learning like everybody else. But now I really, truly do feel like I feel like a leader in this industry. And I feel so.
I have a quick question. I don't mean to cut you off, but I know your parents up above are rooting for you to do even more. My next question is this, though. What make your company stand out from the rest of the people in California? I know why, but you tell me in your own words. Okay, Jenny?
Yes. So without, with all humbleness, I honestly believe what makes my company stand out is, number one, that I went through it. And the reason I got into it was from a very like heartfelt space.
Yeah.
Number two, I am a perfectionist. I mean, think of like, I was a professional figure skater. I like anything I'm ever going to do. I really want to do it at the very best, highest level that I possibly can. I take everything, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. So there's the heart, there's the drive, and then also just really wanting to be in service. I mean, really wanting to lead with service and help. So I don't care. I mean, I will never turn down somebody if there's something I'm not going to get paid for. You would never know the difference between what I'm getting paid for and what I'm not getting paid for, how I show up for people. And I just kind of live my life with, as long as I'm making enough money to support myself, then that's all I need. In fact, about a year ago, I started working with a program, and it's called the California Seniors, or the California, in California, it's the assisted living waiver, and it's a Medi-Cal program. And I was not getting paid for this, but there was such a need for this like underserved community that had no advocate, stuck nursing, based homeless, but they couldn't take care of themselves. They found their way to a skilled nursing facility through a hospital visit, no family to advocate for them, nobody to help take care of them. So where do they go? They're stuck. And that was really what I think turned not my life around, but like my purpose moving forward was not so much the private pay, placement, which is what I thought I was going to be doing. That is what does pay my bills, but 50% of my time goes to helping that community fill out their application and work with the state and get them, it's called like transferred back into the community, to find a place for them where they're not stuck in a skilled nursing facility where they should not be.
What you do that's really exceptional and beautiful is that you help find from a smaller community net home to a larger community. I remember, you obviously who you go through are exceptional and wonderful places. You go above and beyond. So my next question is this: do we see you going international or statewide? And also, what advice do you have to give to the women out there between our ages 40 and 50 that want their parents to get into geriatric care for the future and find a good place in California and statewide and international?
Okay, so international, I would love to help other people be a me, like start this in their own state or their own community.
Yes.
I don't think I have the resources myself personally to learn every county's, rules, regulations, laws, what facilities are there. That seems a little overwhelming. And, like I'm very realistic. To do it right, I want to be the best. And to be the best, I am focused on, my area, but all of California. So that is something that I am statewide. I tend to get, of course, more business in my own like county, but I have placed people, in Northern California, Southern California. I've helped families everywhere. I have facilities call me everywhere, especially about the program that helps pay for assisted living, because not that many people know about it. That's something that if you're lucky enough to hear about it, good for you. But if you don't hear about it, you don't know it exists, and you just keep going on doing what you're doing. So I've had a lot of statewide communities like call me and ask me to come out and like educate their staff on it. And some of the owners of the like skilled nursing facilities or assisted living facilities, I've really helped, I think, guide and navigate them to understanding the program. And that way more people can benefit from it.
Well said. And where do you see yourself in the future? Yeah.
So I don't know if I mentioned in the book, Unexpected Leader. So I was just asked to be a part of, and that has opened up doors. There's 11 authors in here, all with amazing stories, but this has opened up doors for me for public speaking. And now I'm actually writing a book about elder care and about navigating through all of this and what to do. And there, we're breaking down the chapters in like, if you are if you are pre-planning and this is wonderful, this is what we all should be doing, here's what here's what to do, here's what to look for, here's how to do it, here's other resources that you're going to need for a trust, an advanced healthcare directive. I can't tell you how many times I have a client that has had a stroke or dementia, and they cannot really make their own decisions anymore when it comes to healthcare. And there is, even people, I had an attorney just last month that said, oh, well, I'm my mom's power of attorney and she's an attorney. And I said, okay, great. Send me your power of attorney and let's get this started. Well, the first page of the power of attorney, the first paragraph said, this will not represent healthcare decisions. So it was for like finances, everything else, property, but not for healthcare decisions. So that's a big one to look for. And there's a very easy form, it's called an advanced healthcare directive. Get that filled out and name somebody that can make healthcare decisions for you. That number one that is like really a great thing to have in place, because so many people, we're not planning. Like my mom was a nurse. She worked a 12.5-hour shift, got off work and had a heart attack and passed away. Like you just never know what is going to happen. People fall, people have strokes. Like one day you're fine and the next day you really might need somebody to make a decision for you, because they're going to say, well, no, we can't listen to this person anymore. But so I think, all of these things, but then also in the book, like when it is a fire drill, when I get this call probably 3 or 4 times a week that, mom or dad is in a skilled nursing. They've been there. Their insurance is covering rehab. That's what happens when you get discharged out of the hospital. Well, when the insurance every week reviews their files, when they see that there is no benefit from the therapy, like physical therapy, they'll stop covering it. And the insurance lets the skilled nursing facility know they need to be discharged in 48 hours. Like we're not going to cover them to be there for more than 48 hours. So then the skilled nursing facility tells the parent or tells the family, we have to discharge in 48 hours. And that is a fire drill. They don't know what to do. They have 48 hours to figure it out, to find a place. And they get so mad at the skilled nursing facility for, kicking out mom. But it's a whole, there's a lot that goes into it that people don't even have any clue about, including me, until I obviously started working in this. But 48 hours to really figure out what to do with a loved one and how to pay for it. And it's just really scary. And so that's going to be in the book, how to navigate through that. But I always just say, just call a professional. Let's, have somebody do it for you, with you, whatever level, the family wants. But it's really sad that to see what the families go through, siblings fighting, everybody has a different idea of what's best for mom or dad. I've seen families just torn apart by this. And it really, I think, is helpful to have a professional in your corner helping guide and navigate through this time.
Well said, Jenny. Well said. If y'all out there, give her a round of applause.
Thank you.
So smart. Okay, so my next question is this before we end with how to find you. The reason why I asked if you were going international or statewide was because I was wondering if y'all have like conventions for the title of which you do this for the geriatric and families that need you. I was wondering if they have like conventions where y'all can get together, have speaker events, and talk about ways to maneuver via state. Like if somebody's traveling out of state, what if somebody has to travel to your state or from your state, connect with that state? What do you think about that?
So I think you are so smart. Like you are asking questions that I've just recently started asking myself. I was so hyper focused on the just the service in my community that I hadn't really started thinking larger until recently, until I, like I said, now I have confidence. I've been doing this. I've helped so many people. I know that I can help anybody. And so I think with that confidence and, with the feeling of now helping so many people and wanting to make that on a larger scale, I just started asking myself the same questions that you're asking. So you're like, 12 steps ahead of me, but yeah, I think there are, and if there aren't in your community, like I would like to kind of start one. I would like to put one together.
Well said. And I lied. If you had to give a piece of advice to somebody that wants to do what you doing, what would it be? And then we're going to tell the people how to find you.
Okay. I think if somebody wanted to do what I was doing, um, it is helpful to volunteer or, try to work in a community or a facility, whether it's hospice or skilled nursing or assisted living, something like that, just to really get your hands dirty, roll up your sleeves and know what it is. Like I feel like you kind of have to be in the trenches to understand it. And then you can do like I do long-term care placement. And I feel like it's this really needed, thing, but also I'm not getting my hands dirty. I'm not changing diapers. I'm not showering people, that I did that though. And so I do understand it. And now I always know where the family's coming from, and having the compassion if somebody hasn't gone through this themselves, like I did, just you'll feel it from those places, like talking to the families and working with them. I feel like that would be step one. And then to do what I do in California, no license was needed, which is really surprising. Obviously I was a realtor for, 20 years, and you have to get relicensed all the time. And I feel like kind of like a realtor a little bit for families with elder care, because I'm showing them communities. I'm seeing what their needs are. I'm providing the best places for them, and then I'm helping them move into them. So it is very much kind of like all of the things I did tied together with real estate and then with the assisted living and elder care. It all kind of like beautifully came together, like very, yeah, like very serendipity, like it was when I had the idea to do long-term care placement, it was this, like, I felt like it was a little bit of a God moment. I was asleep and really I had been thinking about how can I show up best in this industry. And I woke up from a dead sleep, and I swear, I don't know if I heard it or if I thought it, but it said, like there was a voice, long-term care placement, like you do placement. And I was like, why didn't I think of that? It's so brilliant. I am so comfortable, as I was actually like a relocation specialist for a large real estate company. And so I helped Kaiser and like multiple hospitals with doctors and, staff moving in and out. And so, to have that like aha moment and then to do it, I think is, beautiful. And I'm so happy that I followed that. But yeah, I think I get to drive people around and show them communities and help them move in. But I also have the background now of I owned the assisted living. I know all the Title 22, rules and regulations. I just feel like I can really show up for these people better because I've been in multiple like places now in this industry. I've come from different backgrounds. I've learned different things about it. So yeah, so I think to me, if you really wanted to do what I do and be the best for the client, like for the family, that you would have multiple streams of elder care under your belt to be able to bring to the table for them, because that's something, it's just invaluable. Like I have people that I respect in this industry that do placement, but they don't know about this program. And so I have families that will call me and say, I've been working with this person, but I was told I should reach out to you and just see, we don't know what we're going to do. We just don't have enough money to pay for more than about 12 months of assisted living. And so then I tell them about this program and they're like, nobody's mentioned this before. So you know, like for me, that's a big deal. Like I can help in that way where it's not just about placement. You know, for me, it's not just about placement. It's all of it.
Well said. And wow. I think that you should, it's free to fill out a TEDx speaker thing. I don't know if you ever did, but or get your husband to do it. That way it'll look like a referral, but you can do it yourself, but you deserve to be on TEDx. This is a wonderful conversation and I know you would kill it and slay it
Oh,
talking about on TEDx.
thank you. Yeah, I have not filled anything out. I've um again just kind of recently crossed my thoughts like, oh, there's that thing called TEDx. Like, yeah, maybe I should. And I feel like my days are really busy with work. But I really love spreading this message and just as much as possible. You know, people need it, and it's only going to get more and more. Our baby boomers. It's the population for the over 65 is growing every day, and we are not going to have enough resources for this, for these families, for this like population that is going to need like the long-term elder care.
I hate to say this, but how can the people find you?
Okay. I would say the best thing is you can email me, Jenny, JENNY at CASCC.me. And that does stand for California Senior Care Consulting. So Jenny at CASCC.me is my website. You can email me directly, Jenny. I'm sorry, www.cascc.me is the website. And then my email address is what I just said. And then I'm on, Facebook, I'm on Instagram. Jenny A. Ferguson is my Instagram handle. From there, you can, DM me. I have business Instagram and Facebook too, but I always say just do the personal, and I'll reach back out. And I mean, really, anything I can help with, I'm here for it. I'm here for all of it.
Well said, Jenny. Stay on the line. Thank you guys for watching this show. This is a
Thank
powerful
you.
show. Take care, Jenny. Stay on the line. Y'all
Okay.
take care, and I'll see y'all another time. Bye.